Welcome, everybody, to the new and improved Wednesday nights on the Bigfoot Underground. Tonight, we got a guest who was a call-in. I was like, hey, we got to have you back, kind of tell that story again. Let's have a little bit more time to tell it. And then after that, we're going to take your calls for the rest of the evening. We are going 3 hours tonight. So from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern time, we are rolling. There is a bathroom break video. It's a song my buddy sings that will play for an intermission so I can go drain the main vein. And we're also going to have our raffle for the Kentucky expedition. We'll give away two spots to that tonight. So let's get into it.
Something big is spooking residents. Multiple people have claimed to see a large furry animal trudging through the woods.
I literally could see him from all the way over here. I started hearing it. It was very large, and it was running so fast.
Of sorts for campers in Taos County. The Sheriff's Office is sharing safety tips on social media to protect yourself from
Bigfoot.
I saw something out of the corner of my eye off the side of the road in a culvert.
It's not like a bear, and it wasn't like a coyote. I've never seen anything like that.
No details, big, like 10-foot foam, big thing. I freaked out, hit in the leg.
I don't think it registered what it was.
What's the likelihood that there are big animals that have gone undetected by scientists and by trained observers?
Welcome to the show, everyone. This is the first extended Wednesday. We got to come up with a cool name for it. Maybe Wild Man Wednesdays or somebody said Creature Feature Wednesdays. So maybe we'll roll with that. Who knows? We got to figure something out, though, right? Anyways, hope everybody's doing well. I have had a last couple of days. I don't know if any of y'all seen my little short video I put out today. So on Sunday, it was for sure that we were going to go to Ontario with Mr. Stroud. Okay. And then, so I had to come up with a passport. I didn't have my passport yet. So I paid a company $778 and then $115 for shipping to get me my passport in 3 to 4 days. Okay. Filled out the application. Thought we were all good to go. I had to submit a photo. So Monday morning rolls around. I go down here to our clerk of court where they do the passport photos. And as I'm telling them that I used Hello Gov, right? That was the name of the website. So you see Gov, seemed more legit in the moment. And they're like, no, they can't get you your passport by Friday. What are you talking about, silly man? They can't go in there on your behalf and get your passport. They could charge you for it. And in that fine print, it did tell as much. So I canceled it with them and asked for my money back. They said they would give me my money back. And they gave me a number at the clerk of court to call the people that actually do passports, So they made me an appointment for Wednesday morning at 10:30 to go to Atlanta and see if maybe they'll give me my passport right there. But maybe they won't. But if I want, and this is how she put it. She said, I can't guarantee it to you. But if you want to get your passport on Wednesday, you should be there. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So left my house at 4:45 a.m. Okay. Still didn't go to bed till damn near midnight, but drove to Atlanta. I get to Atlanta, like I am flipping out inside. Like my anxiety is through the roof. I don't like being around that many people, that many strange people. And then another part of it is I get like anxiety about leaving my house if I'm gone, right? If I going into town for the day, I'm good. Going camping, I'm good. But it's all this build up to this trip, right? Because like I hate leaving my home. It's like a crippling anxiety. I'll cancel shit. I'll find the first inconvenience that I got for leaving my house, and then that's where I'm at with it. I can't go because clothes ain't washing right. I might need to take the washing machine apart. Like I know what the hell I do anyways. And, you know, so that was all kind of building up. And I texted my old lady. I was like, bro, I think I'm about to cry, about to freak out and cry. I just want to go home. And she's like, shut up, get you something to eat, take you a nap. You're tired. And that's what I did. Cause then when I had my meeting at 10:30, they told me, okay, you can pick it up at 2:30. So now I got all this time to kill in Atlanta. And I go and sleep in my car for about an hour, and they send the text. They had it done early, so I was able to leave Atlanta at 1:00, which is cool. Calm down after that, you know, all good. But still, that anxiety's there. But I'm going to go, like I said, Canada next week. Robert from Cabin in the Woods is going to be there. This other guy that does like Bigfoot Camera Project or something.com or something. I think it's an app. I'll let y'all all know more about it next week when I'm talking to the dude. But he like puts out cameras all over the country, and you can get online and view them or something, some deal like that. And then Mr. Stroud, and like there's a retired cop who has a psychic connection with Bigfoot coming as well. So interested to see how that goes. Only problem is that the high one day, the warmest it's going to be is 50 during the day on one day. The low is like 29, 75% chance of rain one day, 65% chance of snow the next day, and then like 70%, 75% again of rain the following day. And we're going to be out in it, you know, like let's travel camping some bullshit, bro. He will camp, he will camp in some bullshit, and it looks like I'm going to be right there with him. Anyways, I'm going to be filming the whole thing. Next Wednesday's show, I'm hoping to do it from there. We may be in the woods, and it may not be a call-in show, but I'm hoping I can go live for an hour, because like I don't think we're going to have any charging abilities for our phones or our gear or anything. So we're having to hike everything in and then hike to the next place and stay a couple nights. Like it sounds rough. So say a prayer for your boy, because it's going to be below 60. And that means I'm miserable, people. Below 60 means miserable for me. Okay. So the Kentucky expedition coming up at the beginning of October will either be at Mammoth Cave or the LBL. Got to get my permits for it. However, before tickets go on sale for that, we're going to have a giveaway for it. So if you would like to possibly go to either Mammoth Cave for the expedition or to the LBL, We're doing raffles again. Did one of these before. Did them a couple times, I think. I know at least once for the track and the backpack and all that. This time we're going to give away an expedition. So those raffle tickets start at $5. You could Cash App, you could PayPal, you could Super Chat. Each Super Chat will get every $5 gets you one ticket. And at the end of the show, we will draw. And whoever wins, you and one person will get to come on the expedition. Sounds pretty good. All right. If I own power tools. Yeah, so, and here's another thing. Okay, my vlog, Sunny, asked if I am allowed to give out the location. I don't know. To be honest, I didn't even ask that question. I know we're going to Mr. Stroud's cabin, right? Which is 5 hours away from Toronto. And it's he's had a bunch of activity there before. Okay. So we're going up there to kind of, it looks like freeze to death. You know, like I ain't even got clothes for that shit. So, see, Amy, I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to do. Amy, we probably will go to Mammoth Cave. We wanted, like, seriously, we were going to do an expedition that we had to, it was like a 3-day kayak trip. Right? So you kayak down the river for the day, camp, do it again the next day, camp again, and then the third day come out, you know. But you have to be, like, I had to get a damn, like, water guide license to do that, which is crazy. So I think I still have to get a permit, or I know, I shouldn't say I think. I know I got to get a permit and insurance for the event. So those are coming. I'm about to grab those when I get back from Canada. Christina Cryptids is our first raffle entry. 2 tickets for you, ma'am. Going in the top hat. So, right now you have a 100% chance of being the person that gets to bring a friend along. Let's see if anybody else joins you. Okay. So, I know y'all remember Zullie. She was called in. She had some UFO encounters when she was young in Puerto Rico. And then she had an experience to where it's almost like a near-death experience, right? I wanted to bring her on so she could talk about the stuff in more detail, okay? And then after she's done, we're going to take calls. Okay, Rhonda Lee with 5. I'm going to fill those out in just a moment. What I'm going to do is I am going to put names in my notes that buy during the interview. And so, okay, so then after Zullie's done, I'll fill them out so I can somewhat stay in this conversation. Okay, let me see here. Give me a damn piece of paper. That's going to be easier than my notes. Zullie's waiting in the back room. We're about to bring her on. Sorry. We are just trying to do this real quick. So, Rhonda, you got $50 in tickets. I already got Christina's in there. And then, another 50 from Christina. Then I had a PayPal from Zoe for 10. Okay. Once she's done, we will, once we're done with her interview, I will cut those tickets and put them in the hat, but I got y'all down. Thank you guys so much. Okay. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring on Zullie. How you doing?
Hi, good, and you?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm running on fumes, but, I'm running till the wheels fall off of this. So here we go. So last time you came on, the chat was just like, the chat loved the story, the comments. Everybody wanted you to come back on. So I figured, why not? Let's have you back on. Maybe you can go a little bit more into it. We can ask some more questions. But I know that your childhood, you grew up in Puerto Rico.
Yes.
As an American who, I only went to tourist areas, really. Well, I take that back. I did go to a terrible place in Mexico one time, but I went to Juarez. Crazy. But I'm sure Puerto Rico wasn't like that. But what is it like growing up in Puerto Rico?
It was great. It was great. Puerto Rico has a lot of places to go, so you're never really bored.
Right.
I wasn't into the night life. I was more into going to the river, the beach, and things like that. But it was great, especially where my parents live. That is so rural. It's like a little piece of paradise over there. So it was great.
Nice. Now, at what age did you come to the States?
I think I was maybe 20.
20? Okay. But all this happened when you were what?
In between, I would say 8 and 13 years old.
8 and 13 years old. Okay. So over what is that? That's about 5 years. Yeah. So about a 5-hour period, you had an abundance.
Well,
a lifetime.
Why it's weird? Because I'm not special at all, but all those things happened to me, and I think it has to do something with my family, like the history of my family, because there was a lot of weird things that happened there that made the situation worse.
Right. Okay. Well, let's get into it because I'm sure there's some people here that may not have heard it the first time. So, when was your first encounter, and what happened?
My first one was in my cousin's house. May they rest in peace. It happened when I went over there to play with my little cousin, and it's in a walking distance because it's my cousin's house. Then it was my uncle's, and then they sold it to another person. And the last one is my parents' house. So I went up the hill and went to the house, and I remember my mom telling me don't stay out till late because the next day it was school. So I was like, okay, but I just got involved. You know how kids are, we got involved.
Oh, yeah.
And when I look outside, it was dark, and I'm like, oh, God, my mom is going to kill me probably. So I started walking, and like I told you, in between the houses was the wooded area, and it was dark, and I was a kid, so I got scared. So I started walking fast, And right when I'm about to hit the last hill to go to my parents' house, because where my parents live, it's like this. So they're like in the bottom of the
Mm-hmm.
hill, and then the river is like the bottom of the mountain. So behind the land, it connects to the high school part of the land, and then on this side is my aunt's part of the land, and then on this other side is where I saw my other um, UFO, where I told you that it just hover over there. So it's kind of like a cone.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm about to hit that last hill, I was just illuminated. It was like it was so fast because it was dark, and it was like, like if somebody would have like just like flicked a LED flashlight. So in the second I look back, because I'm thinking there's a car coming, so I have to get out of the way, because like I told you, it's going down the hill. So my parents' house is the last house. So whoever goes down that, it has to do a U-turn in my parents' yard. And when I look back, there was nothing there. It was so fast. So like I told you, I started running down the hill, and I was like, "Oh my God, thank God I didn't fall." And I started like knocking on my mom's door, "Mom, open the door, open the door." And I tried to tell her like I just saw this light, and she was like, "No, no, don't tell me anything. Like I told you not to stay out late," and she didn't want to hear it.
Right. So, how did that make you feel? I mean, that you just had this thing happen, and your mom didn't believe you.
There always been skeptics. It's very hard for them to believe in something. My mom is a little bit more ease now, because I have told her all my experiences. But I feel like inside I was like, I just saw this light going down the hill, and you guys are not going to do anything. But at the same time, I couldn't say nothing else, because my parents were like very strict. So whatever they say goes, and
Right.
I just let it go.
Now, do you
But
think
needless to say that I didn't went up there in a while.
right
I
now,
didn't went.
when you seen it, was there any houses around, or were you just strictly in the woods?
No, that section, it was in woods, because I remember back then, my uncle used to have a little section going down the hill where he used to have like roosters. You know how
Uh-huh.
in Puerto Rico they have like fighting roosters. So
Yeah.
he used to do that, and he had this place where he had them, um, but it wasn't like what you call a thicket or something like that. No.
Gotcha. Well, do you think anybody else that lived around there seen the thing?
Hmm. No.
No. Okay.
No.
So, okay, you just had your first UFO scare, right?
Hmm.
How long is it until you have another?
It was about like 2 to 3 years after
Oh,
that.
okay, so there's a little gap.
Yes.
Okay, well, what happened with that one?
So it was a little bit late, but it wasn't like super late. So I went outside, because, like I told you, I like to go watch the sky and the stars. And I remember being sitting in the balcony, and I'm looking right towards where the rooster kennel was at that I told you. So I'm looking over there, and I see this, what I thought it was a star. So
Mm-hmm.
it started like this, like doing this type of motion, and it was yellow. But then it will do it fast, and then it will do it slow. And I'm like, trying to think like, is this a helicopter? Is this an airplane or something? Because usually you can tell, because they start moving slow and until they go away. And I'm like, this is not normal. So a little bit of minutes pass by, and then it starts to turn green. And that's when I stand up and walk to the railing of the balcony. And I'm just staring at it, and it starts to do that motion like what I told you, when the sun hits the pool in a certain way, that it looks kind of like the waves inside,
Yeah.
just like that, but it was green. So in my mind, I'm thinking, am I seeing like the death of a star or something over here? Because it was so weird. I never seen that. And as I'm seeing that, it started to move slowly towards the left, like very slow. And I'm still staring at it. A couple minutes went by, and then all of a sudden, this thing vaulted to the left at the speed of light. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was so fast. It disappeared.
Right now,
But again,
did
I tried to tell
did
my mom.
oh yeah. So you told your mom?
I try to tell my mom. I'm like, Mom, all this is in Spanish. So I apologize if I don't say something right. So I'm trying to tell her, Mom, I was just outside and I see this star and it flew away. And she was like, No, maybe you saw something else. Maybe it was an airplane. I'm like, No, that was not an airplane. And she was like, Maybe it was a shooting star. And I'm like, It's not a shooting star because usually you can see like the tail when
Right.
when they do that, and that didn't happen. So again, I was like, okay, whatever, you're not gonna believe me again. So
Now, did you have any prior knowledge to like UFOs? Like, had you heard anything from your friends
yes,
at school or whatever? Did you know about them?
no, not my friends. I haven't told this to any of my friends because, like I told you back then, if I were to say, I would get bullied, being told that I was crazy or something, or being fun at. So I just kept
Right.
it hidden. But I remember in the news, seeing a lot of news about UFO sightings, and they were so interesting to me.
Right. Is there a lot? Were there a lot of other sightings like in your, area?
In my area, I don't know because I'm from Utuado, so it's like right central west
Mm.
of Puerto Rico. But it was another town that it was called Canovanas. That it was a lot of sightings over there. Um, but in Utuado, I seen anything in the news. I just remember my mom telling me a story about my uncle when he was younger. That he told my mom that once he got out of my mom's house, he was visiting her. Um, when he got to like the main road, you have to pass like a little bridge, um, and then go up a hill until you get to the downtown of the place. And he said that this light followed him all throughout that road.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's a lot of
So,
weird things. And I remember my dad telling me one time that when he was younger, people didn't have a car or anything like that, so they used to walk on foot, especially to go visit my mom when they were like dating. And he telling me that sometimes he'll hear things like running down the hill, and he can hear like the grass moving around and something that sounds like something running on top of the little bridge that was there. So it's a lot of weird weird things happening over there.
right. Now,
Hmm.
okay, so you've had two now,
Hmm.
in about what, 2 to 3 years. So, how long to your next one?
Um, I would say not long, probably like a year and a half after that.
Okay, what happened with that one?
So, so like
This
I
is
told you,
this is the one that your mom became a believer, right?
yes, but at the
Okay.
same time, she didn't actually saw it because, okay, so let me tell you,
Yeah, go ahead.
my my dad was working and my mom was pregnant with my younger brother. So it was the both of us at the house, and she asked me if I can help her close the windows. So I told her yes, and when I'm closing, because like I told you, my house is like a cone, like going down. And then in this hill, there's like a light pole over here, like on top of the mountain. And then on this side is the rest of the path that goes down the land and it goes to the river. So right there's a pole, and also there was a guava tree right there. So they're like a little up the roof. So I'm closing that window that is facing directly to that entrance of the land. And as I'm starting to close it, I start to hear this humming noise. It was like, mm. And I remember we both stopped because she was closing the window next to the dining room. And she was like, what is that? Do you hear that? And I'm like, yeah. So we were trying to figure out, like, what was that? Is it a helicopter? Is it a plane? Because I remember she told me if it's an airplane or a helicopter, it's very low because they say we can literally feel it, the vibration in our feet. And back then, my house was built in wood, and then the windows were aluminum, and also the roof. So I could literally hear the window kind of vibrating. And as this is happening, it starts to get like more intense. And that's when my mom started backing up. And she was like this, with that like scare face. And before she like stopped at the wall, she was like, no, don't go to the window, don't go to the window. But like I told you, I was always being like a curious child, and I'm like, I have to see what's going on. So I remember like opening the window, like kind of peeking through and looking up. And as I am doing that, this huge, huge disc shape appears. And I can see it was so black, like I told you that. I never seen something so black, and the only reason I'm thinking that I was able to see it was because of that light. Since it was up, it hit it that I can see the bottom of it. If that wasn't
Right.
there, I don't think I would have been able to see it. And as this by, I can hear the branches of the tree, like the rustling of the branches. Oh my God. And I'm watching this, right? And as I'm watching, I can start to see that it is bigger than our house. And it has a yellow light, a space in between, two green, space in between, yellow all around it. So it keeps going. It keeps going very slow. It was almost like if it was scanning or looking for something. Um, but what was interesting too, it was that it was very flat. Sometimes like in movies they show this shape, but then on the top it has this kind of dome thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was not like that. It was completely flat, like a flat disc. And then it kept going, it kept going. I can tell that it passed the river, and then passing the river, you have to go up the hill, and that's where the neighbors had cows or something. Because I told you that sometimes they let them loose, and they keep walking, and they end up going up the hill. And I remember when it got to that other part of the land in the neighbor's land, it just hovered. It just stood completely still. And I'm watching this for, I don't know, maybe a minute. And I just don't know how that happened. All of a sudden, this thing zoomed, zoomed to the left. And until this day, I don't understand how something so big could have been so fast. I just don't understand.
How big
And
do
then when
you
that happened,
how big do you estimate that it was?
so back then our house was a little bit smaller than the one now. But I couldn't tell you how big it was. I know it was bigger because as it's passing by, it's wider than our house. Like I
Right.
can see this wide.
So
So mhm.
what's your mom doing during this time?
So my mom is still there, but I got scared when that thing just disappeared in front of my eyes. Because remember, I'm still looking at this thing the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And like in my head, I couldn't process what I was seeing. It felt unreal. That's all I remember. And then when that thing zoomed and disappeared, that's when I got like scared. So I finished closing up the window and I turned around and I'm like, Mom. And she was like, no, no. Like she kind of like snapped out of it. And she was like, no, no, just turn off the light, turn off the light. Let's go to sleep, let's go to sleep. And like I told you, that's what we did because whatever my mom and my dad said at the time, that's what we did. And then we leave it at that.
Now, did your mom ever speak to you about it again?
It was me, the one that would bring it up. No, no, I don't want to take a bath. I don't want to. But then
Right.
she came to visit me, and I was like, I'm gonna ask her again because I cannot be the only one that remembers this. So we started talking, and I told her the whole story, and she was like, "Thank God I don't remember any of that." And I'm like, "How could you not?" Because it was
Wow.
only me and her.
Right, right. That's crazy. Yeah, I wonder why she was so scared. I mean, it makes sense. You don't never see something like that a lot, and then you finally have something like that. I guess it would probably be like having a Bigfoot encounter in a lot of ways. I know when I was a kid, because my dad would watch these shows like Unsolved Mysteries and stuff like that, it would scare me so bad. I remember night after night after night looking out of my window until I was too tired. And then I'd get in the bed and I would pray that they didn't show up and take me. Like you could you could hopefully run home if you have a Bigfoot encounter, but an alien might take you and put you in a zoo on another planet. If it, and that's not something I want to do. But okay, so do you think you had any missing time in any of these encounters? Do you think that maybe, I know you were young, I don't know if you ever thought about that, but do you think maybe you had any?
I haven't really given too much thought, but I don't think I did.
Okay.
I don't think I did. No.
Because like that, the story you're going to get to makes all these ones early on. We'll talk about it at the end. We'll talk. I don't want to spoil it, but anyways, so you believe you saw a rake as well.
Yes.
So you want to tell us about that?
So, like I told you in the other video, it was a very difficult time for us because Hurricane George had hit Puerto Rico and we lost everything. And I remember that hurricane wasn't even like a big hurricane like Maria was. It was like a category 3 maybe, but it was devastating because like I told you, our house wasn't built for that, we were not prepared. So we lost everything. And it was, I believe it was almost like a year in that my dad started rebuilding. So he made the house with cement kind of basement, but it was my older brother and my room. But the stairs was in wood. So my room and my bed was directly facing that. I remember the stairs were on the left and my windows were on like right straight in front of me. And I fell asleep like any other day, but I remember telling my dad to please leave like a little nightlight on the stairs. And he said no. And again, I'm not gonna fight because it's my dad and I wouldn't dare to like, say something different. So I was like, okay. I remember my brother was sleeping in the other room because I remember when I came down, he was there because my dad was finishing it and he didn't put doors in our room. so I can see inside of his room. And I went to sleep like normal. And all of a sudden, I hear on this ear, like how I'm talking to you right now, like someone telling me, wake up, but don't get up, like don't get out of bed because I am here with you and nothing's gonna happen. And I didn't feel scared, like that voice was so like soothing and almost like familiar. I don't know how to explain it. So I remember getting up and sitting down in the bed, and my bed was next to the wall that was right here. But then on this side was where the stair was. So I'm looking like this, right? And I'm thinking, am I going crazy? Because in my mind I'm like, I heard someone telling me something. So when I'm like trying to process what just happened, I started to get this feeling of dread, this feeling of like something wrong is gonna happen. So when I'm turning to the stairs, like this thing appears, and I remember being so scared, like if that encounter or whatever would have taken a couple more minutes, I think I would have a heart attack because it was the most intense fear that I've ever had in my life. And that's a lot to say because I've seen other things, and I almost one time I had a car accident when it was like total loss, and thank God nothing happened, and I didn't get that scared at that moment because I can see this thing on my left, and this thing was very tall. It was like 7 feet tall. It was very skinny, but it wasn't like thick looking, you know, like I can see it had like muscle, but the arms were so long. I can see them like the hands passing down the knees. And like I told you, this thing was naked, okay? It was naked. It didn't have any hair. The head was normal. It wasn't like a huge head or anything. But I remember its eyes were very big and round and shiny, kind of shiny. I don't know if my nightlight was like reflecting on its eyes. And the fingers, I'm not kidding, like the fingers of this thing were like two of mine. It was like this long.
Oh
And then
wow.
it had some like, huge black nails. And like I told you, the skin of this thing was like if you were to leave a steak out and it goes bad, you know how they turns gray? It was
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And I can see this thing, right? And this thing is at the edge with his long hands like this at the end of the stairs. And as he's doing this, I can hear the wall, like the cement. And I'm trying to process like what is this? What is this thing? I'm trying to get the detail of what this thing is. This thing had no boobs, no chest, no nothing. It was like this plain. It had no genital. And then I was so terrified. I tried to open my mouth to scream and I could not scream. It was the craziest thing. I could not move. I could not scream. I could not talk. So this thing starts to go like up and down. And remember how I told you like how barn owls move their head kind of like that?
Yeah.
This thing starts to do this motion. And as it's doing that, you know when they corner a tiger, you know how they open their mouth and they show their teeth, they start hissing?
Mm-hmm.
It did that. Like it showed me his teeth like it was mad. Like it was mad, like it wanted to attack me. I can feel that this thing wanted to like end me right then and there. Because the look on its face, it was just pure evil. And as it's opening its mouth, it's like I told you, these corners, it did not have that. When that thing did like that, it opened its mouth like it was up to here. And its teeth, it had like row and row and row on of teeth, but they were like almost resembling like thorns. They didn't look like shark teeth or like canine teeth. It looked like thorns, like very sharp and pointy, and then curved on to the inside. And as it's doing this thing, because mind you, I'm looking at this thing straight right there. And as it's doing that, I can see. I'm sorry, it's just that sometimes it's like
Well,
very.
you're good. You're good.
I'm sweaty. My hands are sweaty.
It's okay.
So I see drooling, like it's literally drooling. But also, how can you look someone in the eye, but also if I'm looking at you straight in the eye, but then I turn my view to see who's behind you, that you can tell that I'm looking past you.
Yeah.
I can tell that this thing, it's mad and it's looking past me. Like that thing, whatever it was, saw something with me, but I didn't see anything, you know?
Right.
But I can tell it was like mad because it's doing this motion. It's like going up and down, and you can tell like it's mad, like almost like a corner dog. Like it wants to attack you, but it can't. So in my fear, I just put the covers. I put the covers over my head, thinking I don't know what, because what can that thing do for me? Not. But I put the covers over my head and I started trying to scream and talk, and I couldn't. So in my mind, I started rebuking in the name of the Lord, but so fast, like right after another. As I am doing this, because I can feel my heart, like it's starting to freak out. All of the sudden, like that fear is gone. Just as it came, it as fast as it left. And I take the covers off, and that thing is not there anymore. So I wanted to scream, but it was late at night. So I know my dad was going to get mad. And my only reasonable thing to do is, okay, maybe this was my brother playing a prank on me. I don't know why I thought that, but I was like, let me just see. So I got the guts to like crawl in my bed. And if I were to crawl to the edge of my bed, like where my footing of the bed was, and I can look to the left, I can see his footing of the bed. And as I am doing this, I can see that he's sleeping because I can see his feet on the bed. And I'm like, this was not him. So after that, I started praying. I started praying because that was the only thing that gave me comfort, honestly. And I fell asleep eventually. But thinking about it now, I was like, I was a brave kid because I had, let me remind you, our house wasn't finished, right? So I see this thing. I'm thinking, okay, if I tell my parents, they're gonna not believe me. But I was like, I have to let them know because it was here. Um, I have to keep sleeping in that room for the rest of my years. I'm gonna live there because it was another room.
Right.
So I built up the courage and I told my parents, and immediately they were like, "No, you didn't saw that. You were sleeping, or it was something else." And that's when it hit me because I was like, "Wow, I thought I was gonna die. Literally, I thought I was gonna die." And they don't believe me, and I just kept it in. I just kept it in. I didn't tell no one. No, not even my friends in school, nothing. Unless like an aunt of mine would have like a weird experience that we were talking about that. But as soon as I started to describe what it was, they were like, no, no, I don't want to hear it anymore. And they changed the subject.
Oh, wow. Now, did you have any brothers or sisters?
Yes, I have two brothers.
Did they see anything?
So I'm not going to get into too much detail, but my brother, um, which I think that was one of the things that was calling this thing. You know how we were talking about in the last show where I called that you were saying like antiques bring stuff and games like the Ouija board and all that. So my brother was into Satanism and all those things. He's not anymore. But he used to do some weird things, and I think he opened up some sort of, I don't know, portal or something for those things to come because um like a year ago I talked to him about that and he told me that around the same time he used to have some weird experiences like somebody would move his bed, pull the mattress, try to open the door. It was very very
Right.
intense. Hmm.
Okay. So I know you got one more thing that we talked about, and this
Yes,
was kind of everybody's favorite.
I
But this kind
know.
of kind of to me ties in everything, and we'll talk about it after you tell it. But now, do you think this was the thing you saw, the rake thing? Do you think that was demonic or something, or do you maybe believe
Yes,
that was
absolutely.
connected? You don't think it was connected to the UFOs that you had saw?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know because if that's what people see when they have seen UFOs or been abducted, I don't know how can they survive because those things are. I don't know how to explain it. When that thing appeared, it's pure like evil. Like there's nothing more evil than that. It's the fear that you feel. It's terrible.
That energy you got
So,
off of it was
oh
just
my God,
negative. Right.
terrible, terrible.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your good story. Like
And you know,
the one that wasn't a scary monster.
I've been thinking about it throughout my life, and I actually don't know if I really died or what happened. But I remember again that I went to sleep, and this happened a little bit after all of other these things happened because I remember that my room already had a door and everything. Um, so I remember I went to sleep, and like I felt this urge to get up. So when I get up, it was like this involuntary way of getting up. So I just felt getting up, and as I'm looking down on my bed, I see my body just laying there. So I'm looking at my body, and then I look at my hands, and my hands were see-through, like see-through, but like shiny. And I have this white gown on. So as I am looking like this, like I'm processing what I have on, I start to move forward, like electronically forward. Like it wasn't like I'm walking, no, like something was pulling me.
Right.
So I go past the wall, and then right in the section of the land when I told you that my dad's land connects to the land of the high school, it was this huge stairs. This these stairs that were going up, and they were very wide, like very, very wide. And I remember I get on those stairs, and as I'm going up, I can see the railing, I can see the detail. It was so beautifully carved that it looked like one of those cathedrals in France or somewhere. It was beautiful, and it was made out of pure gold. It was so shiny. So as I am going up, I can start to see everything small, like my dad's land, and I can see the school and everything slow. And then it came to a point, I can feel the breeze, like if I am in some sort of escalator. And then I start feeling the clouds. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. So when I was in high school, they used to have these parties, and the DJ used to put like this smoke. That's exactly how it felt. Like I'm passing through this cloud, and all of a sudden I get to this place, this beautiful, beautiful valley. It was like getting into another world. That's how I can describe it. It was so beautiful, and I can feel the grass on my feet. This green grass, beautiful. I can see like a mountain over there. And then in the middle of this beautiful valley was this tree, huge tree. And I remember the wood, it was red, like those redwood. And it was huge, and it was full, full to the brim with all kinds of animals and birds, all kinds of birds. And they were going in and out and going up and down. And I'm just like mesmerized at this tree. And at the bottom of the tree is this family playing. They look so happy because that's another thing. When I got there, it was like peace, this peace, this happiness. I don't know how to explain it. And then they were playing, and when I noticed that they were playing with lions and tigers and all these wild beasts, like if they were a cat and a dog. And I'm looking at it like stunned because I'm like, what is this place? And then further from the tree, it was the ocean. But the ocean was not blue like we see it right now. Because I remember looking at the distance, and I can see that there's another sky over there, but the sky is white. It's not like our sky that is blue, it's white. So this ocean, it looked like glass, literally like glass. Like, you know, in the Travel Channel and these places where they show these lakes and they're frozen, that's exactly what it looked like a frozen, clear lake. And I can see that it's full to the brim with all kinds of fish, all kinds of fish. And I am baffled at what I'm seeing, and I started to hear this. It was like a song. And I looked to my right to the place where I came in, and there was these flowers, huge flowers, like 6 feet tall flowers with two big leaves on each side, and then huge petals, right? And the bigger ones were spinning very fast to the right, and the smallest one were spinning very fast but to the left. And as they're doing that, they're going like this. They're like swaying, and as they're swaying, they're what I think they were singing. They were singing because it was the most beautiful noise or song that I've ever heard. It was this beautiful note, and I'm still processing what's going on, because in my mind I'm like, what is this place? Like, I don't want to leave. I want to stay here forever. So when I look to my left, to where I came in, this path appears, and it was very small, like barely my 2 feet can fit. And I remember it was pure gold, like the stairs, pure gold. And it had everything inside of that path was gold, the stones, the dirt, everything. And I remember it was like this, right? So for some reason, I'm walking on this path, but I'm looking down. And as I feel that I'm about to reach to the end, I see this mountain. And this mountain, it was like I told you, like seeing the Everest. from a distance, right? So you see this mountain, and it's this being, which I think it was God sitting there. It was this huge, humongous being sitting with this white robe. It was so white that it was hurting my eyes just to look at his robe. And then he had on his waist, he had like a belt, but it was this thick belt. You know, in the movies when they show like huge ships, and they use that huge rope to like kind of tie it. It was something like that, but made out of gold, and it was like interlock, and it dangled on the side. And in his lap, he had this huge white book, huge. It was huge, and I can see the detail in the book because over there it was like this subtle breeze that I can see the page kind of like lifting a little bit. And I remember the borders were shiny, like if they were made out of gold. And he had this feather, like a bird feather, white, and he was doing this motion, like he was writing something. And in the angle that I'm seeing it, I can see that it was like this gold ink writing something, but I cannot tell you what it was because it was like another language or something. And I want to see what this being is because he's like on a side profile. So I'm like this, right? And I'm looking and looking and looking until my neck couldn't go up anymore and my neck started to hurt and I cannot see the end of this being. So when he noticed that I'm there, that he's about to like turn to see what was behind him, the brightness was so intense that it was worse than looking at the sun. Like literally it can leave you blind. And as soon as that happened, I literally felt when I felt in my bed. And I wake up like I don't know if it ever happened to you when you wake up like feeling like you're gonna about to fall off the bed or something like that, that you wake up like startled.
Oh yeah.
Exactly like that.
Nice. So, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay.
This sounds like a near-death experience, right?
Hmm.
But it doesn't sound like you died. Do you know what I mean? I wonder if almost it's like astral travel,
Hmm.
right? Or maybe this was an abduction and they put something in your head. However, because you were still young, right? How old are you when this happened?
Probably like almost 13, I believe, around there.
What did you think when you woke up? Like how did you react to this?
I was so happy. I was so happy and sad at the same time because I didn't want to come back. I
Right.
did not want to come back. I wanted to stay there. And then it's like you said, like, okay, now I'm back here again. And it's going to be the same thing because if I tell my parents, they're not going to believe me. So I kept it inside for years and years and years. It wasn't until later on, I don't recall exactly what my mom and I were watching. I think it was a testimony of somebody else about heaven, but that person saw like another section of heaven. And I told her, like, I saw that. And my mom was like, she looked at me like, really? Like, really, you saw heaven? And
Right.
I got discouraged. Because I was like, if they're not going to believe me, I'm not going to say anything else.
Wow, it's so odd, because you have the UFO encounters. Is your brother still doing like see, because here's the thing. I personally believe that the aliens, I believe one of two things. I believe they're either demons, right?
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Or either there are no aliens and the government's just made this shit up so they can enslave us with a fake alien invasion. But I'm pretty sure that like the demons they talk about from the Bible are what we know as aliens.
Yeah, that's what I feel too. Yeah, I feel like they're demons. Yeah.
And so that's just curious to me that maybe it was a memory put into your head because you were so young and they weren't trying to scatter you. But who knows? It also, like I said, it sounds like remote viewing, like astral projection kind of stuff too. Now, have you ever thought or have you ever wanted to have like a hypnotic regression?
I don't know. I never thought about that.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because like, and here's the bad part about it, right? So we were having a regression done on a buddy of mine, a really good friend of mine, about his Bigfoot sighting. Well, when he was young, his mother died in a terrible way. And so when the lady took him through regression and she told him, go to your happy place, he seen his mom. Oh. Right. And so we never got to the story, but I remember she came out, we were sitting outside. We had like cameras set up, but we were only going to record once he was under. Right. And as she got him under, when she first got him under, he seen his mom and he said it was real, right? But he was distraught. He was crying. Yeah. I started crying and he was just telling us, thank you guys so much. I got to see my mom again. I got to talk to my mom again. So there's a downside to regression, right? However, it has been useful for people to recall their memories. And it would be really interesting because you had so many over like 5 years. I wonder if you wasn't taken every single time.
Oh my God, imagine that.
Like, I ain't trying to scare you, but that's what my thought would be, because especially you have this last encounter, but it may all be unrelated. You know, I'm just thinking out loud, you know, but it's pretty amazing. Now, have you had anything since you were 13 or did it all just stop?
No, I haven't had anything weird that I can recall as an adult. The only experience that I have that it was kind of weird. I remember when I became a Christian the first time, I was around like maybe 20 years old, and I live in a very poor neighborhood. So I remember getting out of the church service and I was gonna walk to where I live, and it was like light bulb, darkness, light bulb, darkness. And I remember looking over there because I had this feeling. I don't know, since I was little, I always have this. Every time something bad is going to happen, I have this sense in me that I know that something bad is going to happen. So I look on the left and I see this demon thing running on all fours. And when it got to the light, it disappeared. Then in the darkness, I can see it, and then the second light, it disappeared, and so on and so forth. So again, nobody else saw anything. It was the other person didn't saw anything. So I'm rebuking, and as soon as I start rebuking, it disappeared.
Right.
Like it didn't get to where we were.
Now, did you grow up in a very religious family?
Mm-mm.
Because see, I would have never. When I was a kid, I would have never thought to mention Jesus. That'd have been the last thing on my mind.
So when I was little, I went through something very traumatic. I cannot get into detail, but it was very traumatic for me. And my only comfort was talking to God because I could not talk to nobody else about this. And that kind of made me develop a relationship with God that I knew that He was there, that He listens, that He's real. And sometimes I will pray, right, in my mind that nobody knew. And then a little bit further down the line, something would happen that He would let me know that He listened to that prayer that I did that day.
Right.
So that's why my first thing that always comes to my head when these things have happened to me is being rebuking because they cannot stand the name of Jesus. And I know that for some people might seem crazy, but it's for me, it's a reality. You know, I have lived through it a couple of times, and I know that that's the only thing that can keep them away.
Right. Wow. Well, when you, I guess so. Then you had anything since you lived in the States?
No. Mm-mm.
No, because you're in the Northeast, right?
Yes, I'm in Connecticut. Yes,
It's a very haunted place.
that's what I heard, but I never dared to venture around that.
Right. Like, so
Because
you,
it's my thought process. It's like if I have those experiences when I was little, chances are if I go to some place like that, that something may happen, and I'm like, I I don't know if I can do that.
might start it all back up again. Yeah, but
Mhm.
because you ain't got to go far, and I mean you're right there where the country started, and
Mhm.
every middle aged white woman up there is like related to the original 13 witches or something that were
I
hung. Is
know
kind of
that.
amazing. They're like all related to them, and it's like, okay, somebody's
I
lying or
know.
something. But there's so many old buildings, and I've done a lot of ghost hunting up there, and there's a lot of stuff, but I can understand not wanting to, bring that back.
No, because when my brother left home over there in Puerto Rico, it was a very big spiritual warfare in my house to get those things out. But thank God, my mom became a Christian and she did what she had to do to um, get them out, and nothing has happened after that.
Now, did your mom end up seeing something and that's why she became a Christian? Did something end up happening to her?
No, no, but she told me stories about my grandmother telling her that because where we live used to belong to my grandfather and my grandmother's aunt. So then my grandmother ended up being my grandfather's wife. It's a long story, very complicated. Um, but I remember her telling her that when she was younger, that she used to hear um, like these dogs. She said that it sounded like dogs like carrying chains, and they would go around the house, make noise. Like back then, they were poor; they didn't live in a well-built house, so she said that the house used to tremble when they passed by.
Like
And I don't know if it
hellhounds.
was because yes, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it was because maybe my grandfather was doing some other stuff, outside the marriage. Because back then people used to do a lot of witching and spells and all that kind of stuff. And another time, my mom told me that she remembers when she was little, they used to have a coconut tree in the land, and at night they were hear like these women laughing. And I'm like, Mom, like, what did you do? Because I'm like, that sounds terrible. Because I've heard, when I was little, I heard like a baby crying outside my window, and that would freak me out. And she said, I remember like the next day we used to go outside, and right on the coconut tree, it used to be what she told me was like a turd,
Mm-hmm.
but yellow. And back then, people used to say that they will connect yellow, with witches, which is crazy, but it happened over there.
Wow. Yeah, because I know down in down in that way, they kind of get like that Santeria and all that other kind of stuff.
Yes, yes. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it was because my grandfather was trying to be with other women, and then he didn't end up being with them, and they got mad, and they were like, oh, we're gonna send him this witchcraft and all that, you know.
Right.
But those are things that I feel that they pass down. Like, they throw it to your grandfather, and then they end up in your mom or with you, and those things like that. So it has to be someone down the line that says, no, it's not going to happen to me. I'm not going to be part of this, and do what you got to do to, prevent them from keep going and down the line. And that's me, because I'm not going to let
Right.
those things go down the line with my children,
Well, good luck to you. That stuff will definitely travel through your whole lineage.
Yes,
Like generational curses. They just pass from one person to the next one.
yes,
Um,
yes.
well, you've had some wild stuff go on, and I appreciate you coming and sharing your
Thank
story
you.
again with everybody.
Thank you for
Yeah,
letting me share it again.
yeah. Let me see. Does anybody got a couple questions in the chat for her before we let her go and start taking the calls? I haven't figured out how to take the calls and have a guest on yet at the same time.
Oh,
So, how many hurricanes did y'all go through down there?
oh my God, a lot,
Yeah.
a lot. But the worst one was Maria. That was the worst. It was a category 5, I think. But I wasn't there. My parents were there. Thank God, nothing happened, but it was devastating for other people.
Right. Now, what do they do? Because like a lot of Puerto Rico, from what I understand, and that whole like Caribbean area is kind of like really poor, right? So where do people go?
It's a little bit of everything in every town,
Yeah.
There's the rich areas, but it's also the ones that are not that rich.
Right.
And that's why my dad built the basement, which it was my brother's and my room, so we can take shelter. But you just have to be prepared, if your house is not fully prepared. I remember my dad used to it was this huge metal cable, and he pulled it through the roof in one side to the other, and he bolted it down in the
Right.
cement. So I'm thinking that's why the house wasn't gone, because after that Hurricane George, my dad really took precautions. And
Yeah.
also, if there's somebody really poor over there, they open schools so they can take shelter, because a
Good.
lot of people live in areas where it floods. So that's another bad thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, that sounds wild. I know like it's the same way here. They open the schools up and the local like community
Hmm.
centers and stuff for people that can't evacuate. Because we got poor people down here, but the problem with our shelters a lot of the times is they won't let people bring their animals. So
Oh, I see.
the people will stay in their homes with their animals. Like, I mean, I
Yeah.
would too. I wouldn't leave my damn cats for nothing. So, like, I'm going to Canada next week, and I'm gonna miss my cats. It sucks,
I know,
but
I totally understand. I grew up with cats and dogs and chickens and all in between.
yeah. But yeah, that's kind of a bad thing about the shelters here. Is a lot of them won't let them bring the dogs instead of people to stay. But we get our fair share of hurricanes, and we didn't get one last year. So kind of knock on wood and hope we don't get another one.
Right.
Yeah, but
I hope that too, because that's very devastating.
well, Zullie, thank you so much for coming on again. I really appreciate it. Yeah, and we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to start taking some calls. But if you have – oh, hold on. We got a question. Rhonda just sent in a question before I let you go. Okay, have you done any research into ancestors beyond the situation with her grandfather to see if there was any sort of witchcraft or black magic being practiced?
No, only in between my aunt and my mom, because everybody else died already. So there's no way for me to really know what happened.
Right. Okay.
And I didn't meet my grandfather. He died when my mom was still young. So
Gotcha. All righty. Well, listen, if you ever have anything else go on, you have another rake in your house, or you look out the window and you see a UFO, grab your phone, first of all, but second of all, let us know so we can bring you back on.
okay, I will. I definitely will.
Because I have a feeling you're going to have something else happen before too long. Hopefully it's good,
I
though.
want to see a next one.
Hey, well, you say that until you do. Hopefully you'll see it from a car or something like that. Yeah.
I'm hoping to be like driving down the road. Not really, because, like I told you that day, I feel like they're some sort of hybrid, and if they have that human side where they have emotions, like who can, they could be volatile, and you never know what they can do to you.
Right. And it makes me wonder a lot of times why I'm going into the woods looking for them. Because
you have to be careful, because you never know. And
no.
they could be right there, and you don't know. That's what freaks me out the most. Like, they could literally be watching you for hours, and you don't know. That freaks me out.
Yeah, and like there's the whole thing of them coming through portals, or them, and then the other side is being like an ape. I don't know which one's better, because like chimpanzees are so violent. I wouldn't want to run up on a chimpanzee.
Yes, and
you know what I mean? And then you got a Bigfoot, it's 8 foot tall. But then again, I don't also, if it's paranormal, I don't want them to tote me through the portal unless they don't have to pay taxes in the portal. If they don't have to pay taxes in the portal, I'm good to go there. So, Zullie, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Like, I never thought people were gonna like it that much, but I'm glad that I called that day.
Oh yeah, me too. Because like I said, the chat blew up, and everybody tonight's loving this stuff again. So, but once again, thank you. And like I said, let us know.
Yes, I definitely will.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, everybody. Good interview. Did y'all like that? That was a really good one. Again, I kind of think she got memories implanted into her head. I could be wrong. I would much rather have like a heaven experience than UFOs planting something into my head. I've got to fill out some tickets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the raffle for the Kentucky trip. I'm just going to call it now. We're going to go to Mammoth Cave. Forget the LBL. I was at Mammoth Cave about 2 years ago, and I loved it. I couldn't help but think how squatchy that place was. And so I started doing research on it, and there are a ton of encounters around Mammoth Cave. like some going back, I think it was early 1800s. So I know my buddy Kentucky Dan, he will be helping me with the expedition. I've been on his butt about starting his podcast, Tales of the Kentucky Wild Man. But he's working on like a $15 million house. He's running a crew that's building a $15 million house. So he's been busy doing that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 for Rhonda. Okay. Another 10. Christina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But yeah, we'll do that in like early October. You know, I'm going to try to find some sort of private land for the expedition. Rhonda with another 20. Nothing wrong with the state park, you know, because I'm sure on the trip we'll go and check the caves out. Why not, you know? When in Rome, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's your other 4, Rhonda. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Jerry got 4. Jerry. But the weather should be beautiful in October. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jerry. We are going to open the lines here in a minute. I know Mock is saying that he was going to call. Can't wait to hear that. You know, I talked to a guy today. I told you all I was starting another podcast, one called Still Here, about survival stories. And one of our listeners, a guy that called about a dogman story. He lives in East Point. But he told me his survival stories. He has 2 of them. Backwoods, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so he's telling me he was a shark fisherman, or he's a commercial fisherman, and they were out catching sharks, right? Back in the 90s, you know, you could still do that. And they had about 12,000 pounds of shark. And a storm rolled up on them. Northward, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so their boat capsized. And nobody knew where they were, and nobody even knew to look for them because they didn't know how long they'd be gone. They were out there fishing. Jason got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. And so they treaded water for about 8 hours before they seen an island and swam to the island, which they then stayed on the island for 2 days before swimming away from the island. Rachel, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they came to a fire station. There was a fire station on this island, like a volunteer fire station. And they broke in and used the radio, and they were able to call for help. And that's how they got saved. But it gets better. Zoe, 1, 2. All right, now hold on 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. All right, and so there was a fire in East Point, and it came to his house. And he was able to get out of his house in the last second. He said as he was coming out of the house, he caught fire. His legs got burned and his hair caught fire. And so they get out of the house, and he's trying to get his neighbor out, right? So as he's doing that, he steps on a water moccasin, and it bites him. Now, it was a dry bite. They get the neighbor out and everything. He goes to the hospital. It was a dry bite, but he caught some infection, and he said the name of it, but I don't remember what it was. Anyways, it basically turns your bones into water. And so he lost both legs. Terrible story. But that will be one of the interviews that I have on the Still Here podcast. As I told him when I get back from Canada, I was going to set a date up. Okay, Christina, here is your other 10 with my terrible handwriting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So anybody, I'm all caught up now. Anybody wants to join the raffle, $5 super chat gets you 1 ticket. It is for the Kentucky expedition to Mammoth Cave that we'll be going into in October. And this is before tickets go on sale. It's going to be probably 60 days before the tickets go on sale. We may do another raffle. But anyways, so anybody now, I'm caught up. We can go. And what we can do now here at the 1.5 hour mark, we're going to go for 30 minutes, and then I'm going to take a bathroom break because I'm getting old, people. I'm getting old, and I can't hold it that long anymore. So when we do that, I'm going to play a video from my buddy Dale. And he sings a song called We Call 'Em Boogers in the South. It's a Bigfoot song. I love it. He's embarrassed about it. I don't know why. He's a very good singer. And anyhow, we're going to play that so y'all can check that out while I run to the restroom here at about 10 o'clock. Right? So anyways, the lines are finally open. 850-695-0522. If you've got a story you'd like to share, now is the time to do it. But yeah, the Still Here podcast, like some of the stuff that we're going to be, some of the people I've got interviews lined up, absolutely insane stories. It's not Bigfoot or anything like that, but it's just, you know, people's will to stay alive. So, okay, got our first call. You are on the Bigfoot Underground.
Hey, Stacy. It's Mark.
Oh, hold on. I can't hear you. They can hear you. I can't. I didn't switch my headphones. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
Very professionally run show here. So, okay.
That's all right.
You're on the Bigfoot Underground.
All right. How you doing?
Doing all right, bud. How about yourself?
I'm doing a lot better today.
Yeah?
Been a tough couple of weeks, but things finally came around and I'm doing much better. But can you hear me and everything?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay. All right. I mean, do you want me just to give you the background of what, how we were out there and, what happened?
Yeah, one second. My screen froze up. Hold on.
Okay.
Do y'all see the froze up screen too? I'm gonna pull up the live. The problem with doing all this live is that there's
how we were out there,
difficulties,
and what happened. Right.
Yeah, one second. Okay, so I'm just I am just frozen up, I guess, on my end. Okay. Doesn't look like it is for the show. Are y'all seeing me move right now? Are you watching the show?
I have it on the phone, but I have to get back over to it.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I don't want to lose you. We'll just go because I know they can hear the audio. Okay, not frozen there. All right, so what's your name? We didn't get your name. What's your name, bud?
Brian.
Brian, is this Mock?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. There you go, buddy. I'm so glad you finally called, dude. All right.
I know.
Well, okay.
It's been since February.
Yeah. So go ahead and give us a rundown of what happened, man.
Well, this happened back in 76, and what happened was that back at that time I was 16 and lived in a small town in Monmouth, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in high school, kind of a wild child, and I had a very good friend who extremely smart, and he graduated early. He was 17. He hadn't turned 17 yet. I was getting ready to turn 17. So, we'd always talk about going to Colorado. Just to go, that's what you did back then. And so we mulled it over. In the meantime, I had left home with a friend that owned a cabin in Evergreen, Colorado, outside Evergreen, about 6 miles.
Okay.
Just a basic cabin, had outside water, outside outhouse. We had power, we had heat, place to cook. So, it's pretty rustic stuff. But I only went out there for like 2 weeks with him, just to experience it, because I'd never really been in the mountains or seen that, type of thing.
Right.
So I came home and I talked him into going, basically. So we left in his 67 Chevy Impala. Me and him, and he had a black lab named Bo. And so we drove out, and we were going to get jobs. So we drove out from Illinois and got up there to Evergreen. Another part of this is that Bill, who I went out there with the first time, his brother owns a cabin there and lived right down the road on the mountain to his cabin. So it was all kosher for us to be there. And they knew what we were going to do. We were going to get jobs and, try to make it out there. So anyhow, that's how it all started for us going.
Right.
So it was, we'd been there, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4. And we had got jobs down in Evergreen, like a bar restaurant, bar backs, working in the kitchen, dishwashing, stuff like that. both of us worked there, and we worked all evening stuff, you know. Back in that time, Evergreen wasn't as growing up as I'm sure it is now. I have not been back. But it's a beautiful area. And it just, we loved it. I loved it. You know, I just felt like, you know, how everything that happened back in Illinois, I can just let go of. So, you know, we had to take showers down in town at the YMCA. So, you know, we did that. We'd go get ready to go to work. We'd go take showers and go to work. So it all worked out. They liked us, you know. I mean, back then it was like, it was a different time. I just have to say that. I still have the hair, to be honest. So anyway, we're out there. We usually got off work at the restaurant about 1:30 or 2. And it was about an 8-mile ride back up to the mountain, around to a big valley, and then up a mountain where we live. So we're coming back. Mountain roads, yes, paved, yes, guardrails, just taking it slow, you know. And so we're driving. We're about 5 miles from the cabin. No, we were 5 miles out of Evergreen and driving on the road. And as we go, you know, we're always bullshitting and talking. And the guy that was with me, let me make this very clear. I will never talk about him because it's what he wants. It affected him, I think, way worse than it affected me.
Right.
And he just refused to talk about it. So I will not bring up his name. Good dude, though. Lifelong friend. We still talk.
This was in Colorado, correct?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. So we leave the restaurant. We're going home and, you know, just talking back and forth. And we come around a curve, you know, and rise in the road, and then it goes down. Going the Chevy, you know, this low riding Impala. And we come around the curve, and right at the end of a guardrail was like, it looked as we came toward it like something, a bear. It really did, because it was so low to the ground.
Right.
And, you know, we just didn't know what it was. And my buddy said, bear. Is that a bear? So he slowed down, you know. We saw all kinds of wildlife out there. But the difference was that on passenger side of the car, my side was a mountain. And I mean a mountain. It kind of went up, rocks, stuff like that. It was back from the road. There was a ditch on that side, so it was back from the road. So there was really not a lot of wildlife that went that way. On the other side was a big valley out into a bunch of aspens and just a beautiful area. And so we slowed down. I don't know how fast I did. But anyway, you know, we're both looking at it, and the lights on the 67 Chevy are very low. So he hit his brakes, and when he hit his brakes, as he's slowing down, it just kind of unfolded and stood up. And I mean, at that point, it just didn't compute, you know, it's standing up. Bears don't do that, or they do that, but they, you know.
Not like that.
Why? Not like that. It was like, I'm serious. It's like unfolded. There's several things that I have to make very clear. We weren't high, we weren't stoned, and we weren't drinking.
Right.
I just didn't compute it, it just didn't register what the hell it is. The only experience I've ever seen with Bigfoot before that was RDC magazine about Patterson Gimlin.
Right.
And what stood up looked nothing like that.
When you say it looked nothing
but-
like that, what do you mean it looked nothing like that? Like, can you describe it?
Yeah, it was the fur or the hair, whatever you choose to call it. I mean, the purists will say, "Oh my God, you say fur," but no, it's hair. But it was like the blackest black I'll ever see, ever. And it looked groomed like. I mean, and we're looking at from the back with its left shoulder kind of tilted back toward us. And it's still moving, still standing up.
Right.
And so by that time, we are about, I don't know, creeping, because I don't think he understands. Hit the brakes. And I finally told him, hit the brakes. And I'm not kidding you. He was up in the windshield looking out the window, and it was like both of us. So as he stopped, I reached for the handle of the door to open it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no clue to this day why I did that. I don't think it registers. I got to drink some water. I get.
Oh, you good, bud? I had to do it too, man. My mouth get dry.
Oh God. But
mine's probably from this damn Zen and this vape pen, though. But
yeah, I think the VA takes pretty good care of me, but sometimes the meds get to you.
Oh yeah.
So that's one thing about me. I don't bullshit about anything. So, I just tell it like it is. And when I reached for that, it clicked. I hadn't pushed the door. It clicked, and it was like this thing kind of floated. I can't say floated because I didn't see it walk. I was looking up top. I just saw it move in a movement that looked float, like it didn't bounce. It didn't do anything.
Yeah, it looks like it's on roller skates almost, don't it?
Yeah.
It's kind
the thing with the fur that I got to tell you is that it like it sparkles. I'd never seen anything like that where it sparkled. It looked like it sparkled. And I don't know if that was us. I don't know if that was him or her, whatever it was. Because in this whole experience, it never one time looked toward us. Not one single time. And we were probably 15, maybe 20, 15 to 20 yards, somewhere in that area from it. So we have a good view.
Right.
And it like about to the center line, and it happened so fast that as it went, you could see the fur. So I knew right then, it's not a bear. So my buddies freaked out. I don't know why this didn't compute with me until later on. I just didn't feel scared or anything until later.
Right.
And it just, I just had never seen anything like it. I would say, I'm terrible with heights and shit like that, but I would say 7 feet.
Yeah.
At the most, and I've stood next to some tall basketball players, and that's kind of where I put it.
Right.
There was a slope and there was different things involved too, but I remember this so vivid, that the headlights of the car, like, you could see the cast. And I mean, so that's, maybe a couple feet off the ground. I don't know. But the rest just, was above us. And we were pretty close. But anyhow, after the click, I pushed the door and put my foot out of the car. And that was it. There was a huge puff, like expelled air,
mm-hmm.
and took it back in and gone. Across the road, over about a 4-foot guardrail, down toward a stream, across the stream into that valley. We did not see that part.
Right.
Because it happened. Stacy, this happened within about maybe 7 to 8, 10 seconds, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was like click, click, click. It went that fast. But it happened in slow motion. It was like, that's what I felt.
Right.
And to this day, even when we got back to the cabin, I don't know, man. He kept denying it. And I didn't want to, hey, when an individual sees one thing and another one sees another thing and it affects them differently, that's just the way it is.
Oh, yeah. Everybody perceives it their own way,
Yeah. And I did too. And I don't know. After this whole experience, we went back to the cabin about another 2.5 miles, and not a word. Not a word. I mean, usually we would. Remember the old 8-track tape? He had one in his car, and we would always blast that through the mountains when we were going back.
Yeah.
And that night, we didn't have any music on. And that was very unusual for us.
Right.
And so it just, the thing that it gets me is the fur, like the sparkle, and not looking. Why not looking? I mean, all we saw was more of a back twisted side view, where its head always looked forward. It would look forward or down the road, not at us.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he had no interest in us whatsoever.
He had his damn plans for the evening, bro. Y'all just showed up.
So, do what?
I said he had his plans for the evening. Y'all just happened to show up.
Yeah, and across in that valley that ran almost down to the cabin road, it was fenced. Part of it was, had that stream which you find in Colorado next to every road. One of those that ran all the way, from way up the mountain down to toward Evergreen.
Right. And
a lot of elk would congregate there in early mornings and late evenings, and they would just be herds of them.
Now,
so
did you ever hear of any? Did you ever hear of any other encounters from that area?
We never talked about it.
Did you even ever go
We
back?
didn't. To where it happened. We went by it every night.
Oh, I thought you went. I thought you went out there on like vacation or something.
Oh no! We went out there to work the second time.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, no. The first time we went to the cabin, I just went. I was having problems in school, so basically I took off with Bill and we went to the cabin.
Right.
So, yeah. And his brother drove delivering propane and stuff up to people in the mountains.
Yeah.
And we would ride with him sometimes, That was the first time. And when I got back, I told my buddy all about it, how it worked out. Neither one of us had anything. I worked for my dad, and my dad and I got it, but that's why I left the first time. Second time, we just went to go work.
Right.
To get out of Illinois, go work.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, yeah. So we go up to the cabin, and we get in the cabin, and it was the weirdest damn thing. The lab would always jump up and attack us when we got home late and stuff. And that night, nothing. He laid on that floor and didn't move. And these are things that came to me later on, much later on. And I have to explain that. We went ahead and did life out there. I did it for about 2 more weeks. I came home to Illinois by myself on a bus, and 3 weeks later, I joined the Navy. And so much happened in my life from the experience to the time I joined the Navy. I locked it out. I just shut it off. Right. I didn't think about it. I didn't obsess about it. I know I didn't want to ever see that. And there's a lot of other things in my life. I was born in 1958 in Peoria, Illinois, at St. Francis Hospital, and the nuns raised me for the first 9 months of my life. I just bring that up for later on. So I have really didn't let it affect me, and that's what I've done all my life. I've shut that shit off.
Right.
And later in the Navy, there were things that happened that, I shut that off too. It's easier to do for me.
Yeah.
Some people it's not. What happened to me? I didn't even have Facebook.
Yeah.
Until 2015. I didn't even mess with YouTube until about 4.5, 5 years ago. Nothing. I just didn't do it. There were so many other things I was trying to accomplish. I went through a program at Bay Pines VA in St. Pete, a PTS program and a addiction therapy program, but it's inpatient. You live in the domiciliary. They get you stable,
Yeah.
get you cleaned up, get you a job in CWT program, and you can work in the cemetery and shit like that.
Right.
And through all this stuff, I never once, of all the psychiatrists, psychologists, doctors, nurses, all of them, I never told nobody that this happened.
Right.
I never I never computed it. I don't think I ever accepted it. I don't know. See?
Well,
But I know what I saw.
Do you want
I know
to
what
see
I
one
saw.
again?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no,
Fair enough.
no. No. I mean, I don't go for the wackadoodle shit,
Yeah.
some of it, but I just don't do it
Right.
because it's a real thing. It's a real. I don't care what anybody says. It's very real.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You know, it's just, it's such a leap to believe in Bigfoot. You know what I mean? And to see one, it's like, I wasn't asking for this, and now all of a sudden it's just in my face. You know, and I can't deny it. And then on top,
I denied that shit for 40 years. I said no way, man.
right.
So here's what happened. 4 years ago in June 24th to be exact, I had been talking to another podcaster because I'd never talked about it.
Right.
I ran across Scott Carpenter's channel and watched that. And then I ran across a couple other ones. You know, I just guess I threw out the bullshit and took the ones that kind of meant something.
Right.
Well, I had talked to him at the beginning of June, and I felt like I needed to talk about it because I've talked about everything else in my life, everything, and I don't know why I didn't talk about this. There was something I don't know that just shut it off.
Well, that's how it goes for some people, man. Like you usually have two ways of it. The people either clam up and never talk about it again, or they end up spending the rest of their lives trying to see the damn thing again. You know?
Right. I mean, and you saw it, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm the other side of that coin.
I mean,
I'll spend the rest of my days on this planet looking for this creature again. It's almost like a fucking curse. You know what I mean? Because,
you asked me about would I want to see one again. I don't know, man. I'm 67 now.
Right.
All right. I've done so much in my life. And I don't know. I think that would be something that if the right people and stuff, you know. I'm not good with crowds.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say. I'm real guarded.
Yeah.
I'm very guarded, and I don't have a lot of friends. It's just me. And anyhow, so I talked to this podcaster, you know him, and it kind of it felt like a cut and dried interview. You know, it was recorded, and he sent it to me. I listened to it, and I don't know. My voice is a lot cheaper real than it is on the phone. You know, I don't know. I sound weird to myself. I guess a lot of people do.
And brother, the first time I was on TV, I seen myself on Spike TV, and I called the damn guy that created the show, and I'm like, "What the hell did you do to my voice?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "I don't sound that country." And he's like, "Yes, hell you do, brother." So, but I could have swore they put something on my voice to make me sound more like a redneck, you know? But he's like, "Nobody, that's 100% you." And I'd never heard my voice like that before. So I get what you're talking about.
Right. So I talked to him, and I felt like I was rushed kind of. And I I try to talk normally, but I get nervous, and I'm putting this experience together, but there are so many goddamn things I remember after. And then when I tried to email, nothing. So I said, okay, I will not talk about it. That's it. I talked about it. I'm done. And that some bitch just kept lingering, man.
Well, buddy, I'm glad you called in tonight.
I just didn't trust people to talk about it, and I look in the chat, people encouraged me, and I appreciate y'all for that. It's just something that, and at this point at 67, call me crazy. That's a badge of honor for an old hippie, brother.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's just something that I don't understand.
And
like I said before,
I don't think none of us do, man. I don't think none of us understand it, but we kind of meet here and can talk about it. And, you're telling your story in front of people that want to hear it. Like I told the lady the other day, you're not telling it to people at the PTA meeting or at the mall. Right. You know what I mean? You got people here in this chat that wanted to hear this story for quite some time and have been, kind of pushing you to call in. And I'm glad you did, right. Because every sighting,
I'm glad I did too.
I'm actually with this show. I have taken so many reports now. Like I thought I took a lot before, because I've talked to like over 700 people here in the state of Florida about Bigfoot that have seen it. But damn, I don't know how many I've talked to since this show started, but you figure I'm on about 40 episodes of these call-in shows, or at least 30. And I've got 3-4 people calling in every time and sharing their stories. And that's what I'm happy with doing, just collecting and letting people, have a respectful place to tell their story, because you may not go and tell anybody else. But, like Zullie tonight, she couldn't tell nobody. The lady that called in with the dog man sighting on Sunday, she had never told nobody that at all.
Right.
But we got to hear it here, because it kind of makes, I hate to use the term safe space, but it's a place where everybody wants to hear the encounters, you know what I mean? And they appreciate it.
Well, when we talked, before, I called you. Yeah, I called you about 4 weeks ago.
Yep.
And we chatted a little bit. And we have a lot in common, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Almost eerily. But there's one thing I want to say. I'll let you go so you can pee. I'm old too, bro. Anyway, what I wanted to say is why I brought up about the adoption thing. I have all the records of my adoption, who my blood parents are, is all locked up. I cannot get to it. I don't have the time or the money to do that. I don't know if I'm putting 2 and 2 together on some things, but why at 17 years old am I seeing this and then shutting it off? What was that? And I guess that's a question I always ask myself. I have no doubt 100% what it is now, but